Welcome back, and a special hello to my editor, John Finger, who is looking for more intros. We haven't been on for a few weeks because we ran out of episodes, and apparently I didn't do enough introductions, so this is the one for you from me. Welcome back. From the forum, we have a question from Huck14. Mr. Pachter, with game production becoming more costly with each new generation, do you believe the elevation in game prices is inevitable? What are the right ways, in your opinion, to help reduce those costs? We had a giant increase in cost from the PS2 Xbox cycle to the PS3 Xbox 360 cycle, and literally about a fourfold increase. We have a much smaller increase this cycle, literally about 10 or 15% more. And I actually think over time, you're probably going to see that the cost to develop a game reverts back to about the PS3 Xbox 360 cost. Because it really is just art, and I think people are coming up with middleware and figuring out better ways to reuse, art assets and kind of get more pixels into each frame. But the question on game prices, they went to 60. I really thought they would go to 70 this time, and they really didn't. I know that games are a little higher in the UK. I'm not sure what's going on there, but in the US they're 60 for next gen and for current gen. I think the publishers are kind of now reluctant to just willy-nilly raise prices, especially after we've had 5 consecutive years of software sales declines. In the US and Europe combined, software sales peaked in 2008. They're down 45% since then. That's big. If they grow by 50% the next 3 years, we're going to be about halfway back. So it's pretty bad. It's going to take forever to get to where we were in 2008. And I think the publishers think it through and they realize maybe we were charging too much. So I think that although game development costs would have suggested a price increase this cycle, I think they are going to leave well enough alone, keep the price point at 60, which every year we have modest inflation, a couple of percentage points, but over the course of 5 years, if inflation is a total of 10%, you're actually getting the game for 10% cheaper than you did 5 years ago. So that's really not bad. I think people are willing to pay that much for games, and I hope that the publishers are able to make up for it in volume. You need them to be profitable or they go away. I mean, the world is not a better place now that we have no THQ, no Midway, no Atari. So it's not going to be a good place if Activision, EA, Take-Two, Ubisoft, and Nintendo all go away either. Then we're stuck with Microsoft and Sony games. You just can't have that. So I think no. I think that the smart way to raise price is what they're doing now, and they've already made this change. They've created DLC, and what the publishers are now endeavoring to do is with the big selling games, there's typically 3 or 4 downloads. They hope for an attach rate of about 25% for each download. And so their idea is if we have 4 downloads for $15 each and we sell the game for 60 and the downloads each attach at a 25% rate, 4 times 25, we have a 100% attach rate of 1 download. So instead of getting 60 for the game, we get 60 plus 15, we get 75. And so that's a disguised price increase. And lest you believe that DLC is actually additional content, I personally have observed that with the exception of Grand Theft Auto, games are getting shorter and shorter and shorter every year, and DLC is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I think you're just getting the same game sold to you in installments. The publishers, kind of encourage developers to do a DLC plan as they're developing the game. I think, in 2014, there is no game where the DLC is an afterthought, where the developer makes the game and then figures out DLC later. They know exactly what they're doing from the beginning. And frankly, I think that actually makes the DLC better because it's kind of woven into the story better. I always bring up the example of my favorite game, Fallout 3. I played all 5 map packs, all 5 DLC. And it was 5 great stories that all kind of supplemented the original, and you know, they were different, but they were fun and they made sense. And if you played the first game through all the way, then you knew exactly what to do in the DLC, and it extended my enjoyment of the game. So that was $75 well spent by me. And honestly, that's another thing we were talking earlier about digital downloads. I bought Fallout 3 a year late because Jeremy Hoffman, our executive in residence at GameTrailers, told me it's the kind of game I would like, and he was right. But I bought it a year late, and when I went into GameStop to buy it, all the DLC was out. And I didn't think about DLC. You know, you buy a game, you're not saying, what else can I buy? You haven't even played the game yet. And the GameStop clerk said, oh, this game is awesome. Do you want any of the DLC? And I go, oh, do they have DLC? And he's like, there's 2 of them in package form. You know, I got 2 little Xbox discs. And he goes, and I'll sell you codes for the other 3. So I literally walked out of there $135 poorer. And I went home and I entered my codes on Xbox and I downloaded everything and I played that thing for about a month. You know, played everything through, so it was really fun. I highly encourage you, if you have $5, go buy a used copy of Fallout 3. It's an amazing game. We got a question on Twitter this week from, boy, this one's a good one, Alex Santeri R. Alex, I like that name, Alex Santeri R. On Twitter. And did I say at? I didn't say at. Twitter gets pissed at us, so we don't say that. So at Alex Santeri R _R. The Castle Doctrine developer Jason Rohrer wrote recently on his blog that Steam sales, meaning games that are discounted on Steam, might be harmful to gamers and developers. What are your thoughts? I get that point, and I'm amazed that anybody's reading his blog, but that's okay. Definitely not harmful to gamers as a whole. If you get the same quality experience for less money than you could have bought it for, that's good for you because you have more money in your pocket. And Finger, we need a graphic here. Mo money is good. Okay, so it's better. You can go buy something else. You can buy strawberry flavored Twizzlers if you want, if you have that extra $5. I understand the concept that it's harmful because the people who paid full price are getting screwed because you're getting it at a discount. But I invite you all to think about the phenomenon of viewing a movie. And if you decided that you had to go see The Dark Knight Rises in the theater, you paid something like 10 bucks the first week. I mean, you might have paid 15 if you watched it in IMAX. If you waited, a month or so, you probably paid $6 on a Saturday. If you waited 3 or 4 months, you could have rented the DVD at Redbox for $1.20. And if you wait a little longer, another 9 months, you can watch it on HBO as part of your subscription. So the incremental price is free. And I don't know how that hurts anybody. If you really have to do it the first week that it's out and you buy the game, you pay full price. If you wait several weeks or several months and it goes on sale on Steam, that's because demand is such that they feel compelled to discount, and I don't think that's bad for gamers at all. And I don't think the guy who bought it the first week feels like he got screwed. Everybody knows that if you wait a year to buy Call of Duty, it's not 60 bucks, it's 40 bucks. There's just no question about it. If you wait 2 years to buy Madden, it's $5 at GameStop, and everybody knows that, but they still want to play the new version, so they pay full price. Harmful to developers? Sure. More money is good for developers, so if you have more money in your pocket, they have less in theirs. Harmful to them. There's a concept in game theory called zero sum. That means that if you save money, somebody else loses money, and vice versa. If you overpay, somebody else gets the profit. So it's really hard to come up with a logical construct that says it's harmful to both sides of the equation if it's zero sum. If you spend less as a gamer, that's good for you, it's bad for the developer. If you spend more as a gamer, it's bad for you and good for the developer. We like to believe that there's an equilibrium in the sale of all goods and that people can buy things at the right market value. The market value is actually defined, you can look this one up in the dictionary. Fair market value is the price at which a willing buyer will pay to a willing seller, neither being under compulsion to complete the transaction. that's a good thing. So if nobody's under any compulsion, that's the clearing price. And so the initial price of a game is what the market's willing to bear. The discounted price on Steam is what the market is willing to bear at that time. Thanks for joining us on this week's Pach-Attack. If you have a question, please submit it to the link below, or if you'd like to submit a question to me on Twitter, address it to @MichaelPachter. If you'd like it on the show, add the hashtag AskPach, and we'll try to get to as many of those on the next round of Pach-Attacks as we can. You know what? I have to tell you, can I tell you my Pokemon story?
Absolutely, yeah.
So I had Ed Wu, used to be my associate. He's now a competitor at another firm, but Ed was my associate from 2001 to 2011. And Ed wasn't much of a gamer, except for Pokemon. So literally, Ed every day would go by, we have our mail put into mail slots, and all the packages are left at a front desk at the front of our floor. And so Ed would, you know, go to the restroom or whatever and walk by there, and if there was ever a box he checked, and he'd always bring down whatever games I got. And every single time a Pokemon came in, he goes, "You got a Pokemon, can I have it?" Every one. I've never played a Pokemon game. Every one gone. He took them all.